big tech and social media companies, they don't want you to hear. They don't want you to understand the way that they are coming after the conservative viewpoint.
We've had 2 incidents in a month. One was labeled, the information we put up was labeled by Facebook's censors as partly false. By the way, they came back then and said they took all those warnings down, but of course they did their damage. And then about 2 weeks later, we got one that said false information about a hearing we actually did. And then they took those down, but then said it was missing context. And we're the ones that did the hearing.
Their corrections often do more damage to your brand because you're getting more notifications because now they're adjusting. Oh, we weren't completely right that everything was wrong. Now we're only partially right that you were wrong. So we're going to tell people again that you were wrong. And then you're going to have to fight it. And by that point, the damage is done. And that's the big concern here.
Why are they getting into the weeds of deciding what is right and wrong? Not illegal and legal, okay? But what is right and wrong when it comes to content and the viewpoint that you have.
The notion of free speech is impossible to achieve unless both sides of the debate are indeed heard. And so to the extent that we squash one side of the debate, basically then we move toward a form of authoritarianism or totalitarianism, and that is inconsistent, if you will, with the ideas behind the First Amendment.
People have strong views. You might agree with those views or disagree with those views. Sometimes people will present their view as fact because they believe it to be fact. You might not believe it to be fact. But how about that discussion happen between Americans who are smart enough to do it on their own? They don't need these companies policing speech. We need a place in America that allows robust freedom again, where you see things you don't like, hear things you don't like, but you're also able to know that you can post information that you do like and that you do want people to see.
The social media platforms have become the marketplace of ideas. It used to be the town square. And the issue was, though, when it was the town square, it was the government, and the First Amendment applied to the government restrictions on free speech. It doesn't necessarily apply when you've got a situation where the speech is not by the government, or the restriction not by the government, but by a private organization using their platform. The argument being you have no constitutional right to access a platform. But you know what? Twitter, Facebook, and these other groups don't have a constitutional right to protection under Section 230 either.
Section 230, you hear about it so often when these social media companies censor you, censor us, censor a conservative viewpoint. And Dad, I think it's important now that today on this broadcast to really break down what that is and what it isn't, and whether or not there is a political move to question whether it should be reformed or just completely thrown out and no longer be this protection that social media companies hide behind when they censor speech.
The question becomes whether or not they have taken excess liberty in the usage of Section 230 by engaging in active collusion with government or governmental entities. If they do so, one could argue, for instance, that they have engaged in an in-kind contribution to one political party. And so then the question becomes, have they reported this contribution to the Federal Election Commission? It is very, very doubtful they have done so. And so if you look at all of the discussions that we've had in the nation since President Biden took office, his press secretary, Jen Psaki, has continually called upon the big tech companies to do what? To actively censor contrary points of view.
Classic viewpoint discrimination is what's taking place right now. Classic viewpoint discrimination. You can hear one side of the debate. We're not going to let you hear the other side of the debate.
What we care about at the American Center for Law and Justice, true freedom of speech. Speech that you might not like, we defend. Speech that you do like, we defend. That's real freedom of speech. And we've gotten so far away from that in woke America. But we're not going to back down from that fight.